bandits, 12 o'clock. Break.
In minutes, the Red Air Force would lose over 1,000 planes. For pilots like Grigory Rechkalov, the sky turned from a dream into a slaughterhouse.
Taking fire! I got shaken!
Day one chaos. But from this chaos, a new air war would be forged. This is the story of how a broken Air Force learned, adapted, and took back the sky.
Rechkalov, if you're clear now, send it.
Barbarossa opened with a single, brutal idea: erase the Soviet Air Force before breakfast. In the first 24 hours, more than 1,100 Soviet aircraft were gone. 336 fell from the sky. Over 800 died on the ground, burned, bombed, or riddled where they slept.
Bandit high. He is rolling in, break left.
Factbox, I-150, 3 Chaika top speed 265 miles per hour. Messerschmitt Bf 109 Farads 385 with a 20mm cannon. The gap wasn't theoretical. It was lethal.
Hold now!
It wasn't a fight, it was survival. The Red Air Force wasn't just outgunned, it was leaderless. Whole air districts were erased before they could react. In the Western Air District, General Ivan Kopets lost 528 aircraft on the ground. Faced with the scale of disaster, he drew his sidearm. One shot, silence. Others were blamed. General Sergei Chernik court-martialed and executed. One more life folded into the ledger of a catastrophic first summer. The collapse at the top echoed through every unit below. With commanders dead or disgraced, pilots faced the enemy with little more than courage and luck. Imagine your first kill, in a plane deemed obsolete before the war even began. No radio, canvas, and wood. An engine that gasps above 10,000 feet, and still you reach for the trigger. Within days, Rechkalov scored with RS-82 rockets, proof that even in the worst odds, skill could still bite. Some wouldn't see combat for months. Ivan Kozhedub, a farm boy from Ukraine, trained and waited, while the front devoured men and machines faster than the schools could replace them. Between the quiet of training fields and the roar of the front lay a chasm. To cross it, the Red Air Force had to learn fast. The structure itself was broken. Many Soviet fighters flew without radios. Formations were tight, V's close, blind, predictable. Control was manual. Wing waggles, hand signals, guesswork. In a knife fight moving at 300 miles an hour, that cost lives. The Luftwaffe fought in pairs, a leader and a wingman, each guarding the other's blind spots. 2 pairs made a Schwarm 4 aircraft that breathed with the sky, splitting and rejoining at will. It wasn't pretty. It was perfect.
Leader firing. Off your turn. Try recon and retake left.
German radios stitched their formations together. Soviet pilots often flew alone, even when they weren't. On the other side flew men like Günter Rall veterans, precise, relentless. 275 victories would be credited to his name before the war's end. He wasn't a myth. He was a system with a face. This was the imbalance of 1,941. Technology, training, communication, and doctrine all tilted the sky toward the Germans. And yet, men like Rechkalov kept flying into that tilt. Change began at the edges. Veteran pilots sketched tactics on chalkboards and ammo crates.
Every engagement.
Don't sit in the V. Fight in pairs when you can. Use altitude like money. Spend speed only when you must. Improvisation bought seconds.
You're dead.
Seconds turned into sorties, survived. And sorties into lessons. You learn to hear the airframe talk. A shiver means you're about to stall. A whine says the engine is done giving. You learn the sky's grammar or you die, mispronouncing it. Heroes are loud in books. In 1941, they were quiet. They wiped oil from their goggles, scraped cordite from their sleeves, and went up again. Numbers don't kill on their own. But in 1941, they told the truth. The Chaika could dance. The Messerschmitt decided when the music stopped. The ledger of that summer wasn't pages in ink. It was names that didn't come back. And still, within the wreckage, seeds were planted small orders to loosen formations, to fight in twos,
we fly again.
to listen more than shout. Orders that would take months to flower, but they took root here. On paper, the Red Air Force was finished, outgunned, outflown, and suddenly leaderless. But wars aren't won on paper. They're won by men who keep climbing, even when the sky says no. After the chaos of 1,941, survival meant movement. 2,500 factories were uprooted, loaded onto trains, hauled east to the Urals and Siberia. Whole cities on rails. Moscow tore up the old playbook and built a new air force overnight. The centerpiece was the Il-2 Sturmovik. Pilots called it the flying tank. Ground crews called it the flying coffin. Armored plates wrapped the cockpit like a steel bathtub. It could carry cannons, bombs, rockets, and bring its pilot home through fire that shredded any other plane. One pilot returned with over 100 bullet holes in his airframe. The Sturmovik didn't look like victory, but it kept him alive, and that was enough. Leadership changed too.
We must end
Alexander
this chaos
Novikov
now.
reorganized the entire force. No more scattering squadrons under ground armies. Instead, air armies, grouped by role. Fighters, bombers, ground attack. For the first time, Soviet air power spoke with one voice. From wood and desperation came teeth. The Lavochkin Lag 3 had been heavy, clumsy, nicknamed the guaranteed varnished coffin. But bolt a Shvetsov M82 radial on the nose, and it became the La-5, a wooden dogfighter that bit back. The La-5 could finally turn and climb with the Messerschmitt. Soviet pilots felt it instantly. For once, they weren't prey, they were hunters. Yak fighters filled the gaps. The Yak-7 and Yak-9, simple, agile, reliable. Easy to build, easy to fly, and deadly in numbers. Then came Lend-Lease, the American P-39 Airacobra. Unorthodox engine behind the pilot, tricycle landing gear, a 37mm cannon through the propeller hub. Western pilots dismissed it. Soviets embraced it.
Target spotted. Follow me in.
Most of Alexander Pokryshkin's 47 confirmed kills came in the P-39. Grigory Rechkalov scored 44 in the same type. Together, they proved the Cobra was more than a curiosity. It was a killer. In the spring of 1943, the skies over the Kuban lit up. 1,400 German aircraft faced 1,500 Soviet. For the first time, the Red Air Force met the Luftwaffe on equal footing.
Break left, pair 2, cover high. Leader diving.
Pokryshkin drilled his men into finger 4 formations, mirroring the Germans. No more blind Vs, now pairs, hunted pairs. 2 years earlier, Soviet skies had been chaos, leaderless, voiceless, predictable. Now, over the Kuban, the fight was balanced. Messerschmitt against Cobra, Focke-Wulf against La-5. For the first time, the Luftwaffe bled evenly. The Kuban wasn't victory, but it was proof. Proof the Red Air Force had clawed its way from disaster to parity. Then came Kursk, July 1943, the largest air battle in history, 4,600 aircraft. Over the battlefield, steel met fire in the ultimate test. From the wings of Il-2 rained a new weapon, PTAB, anti-tank bomblets. Like molten lead poured onto a column of steel, they shredded the Panzer spearheads.
Stuka locked, firing.
Kozhedub claimed his first 4 kills here, the beginning of a record that would make him the Allies' top ace 62 victories, never shot down. Against all odds, Alexander Gorovets dove into a sky full of Stukas. One after another, 9 fell in flames. No one would match it. Moments later, fighters swarmed him. He never came back. He died that day, but in that moment, he stopped a wave that could have crushed the ground below. Kursk was the true turning point. On the ground, the German offensive broke. In the air, the Luftwaffe's aura of invincibility shattered. From disaster to balance, and now, to dominance within reach. By the summer of 1944, the Red Air Force no longer fought for survival. It fought for annihilation. Operation Bagration, 2 million men, thousands of tanks, and over 2,000 Soviet aircraft. The goal: erase Army Group Center, the backbone of the Wehrmacht in the east. The Il-2 found their prey in retreating columns. Bombs, rockets, and cannon fire turned highways into graveyards of steel. Convoys jammed, bridges collapsed, tanks abandoned. For the Germans, retreat itself
For the retreating
became
German
slaughter.
forces.
One captured German officer admitted, "Soviet aviation broke our retreat. Every road was death from the air." And while Soviet aircraft crushed German armor in the east, American and British bombers pounded the Reich in the west. The Luftwaffe bled on both fronts.
For the retreating
its
German
fuel
forces,
gone, its
even
veterans
withdrawal
dead or
becomes a
wounded,
massacre.
its replacements barely trained. By late 1944, the Luftwaffe was a shadow. Once masters of the sky, now they faced annihilation, outnumbered, outflown, outlasted. The final act came with Berlin. 3,000 Soviet aircraft faced just 1,500 Luftwaffe. The last battle for the skies of Europe.
Contact 12 o'clock high. Engaging.
In one sortie, Kozhedub downed 3 Focke-Wulfs in minutes. He would finish the war with 62 confirmed kills. Modern records place it at 64. Never once was he shot down, the Allies' deadliest ace. Berlin's skies belonged to the Red Air Force. For every German fighter, 2 Soviet interceptors closed in. For every road out of the city, Soviet bombers sealed it with fire. The Reich was collapsing. Its skies, once ruled by the Luftwaffe, now thundered with red stars. From chaos in 1941 to dominance in 1945, the Red Air Force was reborn, not just through steel and engines, but through men who refused to quit. Men who climbed into obsolete planes, knowing they might not return. Men who endured until victory was certain. This was how the Red Air Force turned disaster into dominance and helped end the deadliest war the world had ever seen. They began with chaos, outnumbered, outgunned, led by men who sometimes did not survive their own decisions. The Red Air Force in 1941 was broken, its pilots thrown into the sky in machines already obsolete. And yet, they climbed, again and again. Through sacrifice and steel, through new machines and new ideas, they adapted. From the wooden log turned La-5, to the Yak fighters, to the American Airacobra. And they fought not as victims, but as equals, until finally, as victors. Rechkalov, Pokryshkin, Kozhedub, Gorovets, names that remind us victory was never guaranteed. It was earned in fire, in blood, in the skies, above a world at war. This was how the Red Air Force rose from ashes to victory. If you want more untold air battles, subscribe and join us for the next story of the skies.